morning. Welcome to Brandenburg News Network. I am Donna Brandenburg, and it is the 14th day of February, 2024. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. I hope you've got special plans made for today. And remember those around you that you love, and just make sure you let them know that you love them. Anyhow, I had a situation just happen like a few minutes ago, and I'm trying to handle this, but I am going to go ahead and bring on my buddies. Seems like one of those days, where you think that everything's going to go in one direction and then it just kind of doesn't. So morning, Karen. Morning, Ralph. Happy Valentine's Day to you guys.
Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day.
So Bill had a truck go down. So I've got like three things happening right now. Bill had a truck go down, so he's got to go drive for his business. And then I think my mom has got to get into the doctor or hospital or something like that. So I'm trying to juggle this morning, and I've got most of the things out of the way, but might have to duck out real quick just to make out some paperwork and such and make sure things are okay. Not a terrible thing, but just has to be something that she has to have looked at. So anyhow, how are you guys doing this day?
Good. It cooled off pretty good outside, though. I was really enjoying the warm weather we were having there for a few days.
Yeah, I admit we have to have winter. It's Michigan.
Well, it gets rid of the bugs.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only gets rid of the bugs, but you have to have it. Farmers know that you have to have it, and unless you have that winter snow cycle, which helps decay, it helps in the decaying process. We have more things that die here. So let's just say Florida loses some leaves and foliage and such. But when you're in a colder climate or a climate that has all the seasons, in winter, everything gets buried by snow and it's wet and it starts to rot. And so that goes back into the soil. So I'm kind of a fan. That and it kills the bugs.
I just wish if it was going to be cold that we'd have some snow. I like snow, but the cold without snow seems a little not as much of a point to that.
I prefer the greenage.
The greenage?
Yeah, I'm making up a word. I know the word is greenery, right?
Oh, that's funny. Well, I literally have almost nothing prepared for today because I was planning on doing a Liberty Essentials with Bill today and you guys. And I wanted to talk about the militia classes because I think Mark's going to come on early today, too, to talk about that, as well as candidate recruitment for the U.S. Taxpayers Party. I know what I'm going to talk about today. That we can talk about today in the midst of the filling some paperwork out here in a few minutes. We found something that was yet another way to cheat in the running for governor situation and or campaign finance. And I thought this was kind of important to bring this up. So this week, all of a sudden, our CFO loses his mind, calls me. He's all kinds of mad because there is approximately, I'm going to say, I think there was over $5,500 that was charged to my credit card. And so I'm like, that was random charges that were out of control. And he's like, what are you doing with this? And I'm like, well, nothing. I don't know anything about it. So I start looking into this. And when Red, the fundraising arm of the Republican Party, decided to charge my credit card to campaigns, I don't even know who the hell these people are.
Nice.
It's like, so I've got this all documented. And I got a question here. I've got a couple of questions because as much as the Republican Party is trying to rig things against outsiders, I'm not saying they're doing this, not entirely, but I think that we should all be a little suspicious. When you've got $2,000 charge to a foundation you've never heard of in your life, and another one to another campaign that is I can read them off to you on the campaigns that these things went to and how much money went into it. And I'm sitting here going, I don't even know who these candidates are, let alone know where the money's going into this, right?
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear who that went to.
Well, I can tell you. It's amazing. By process of paying attention a little bit to unusual charges and looking at where they went, we've got all the proof here. But my question is WinRed doing this? Because I remember seeing $5 donations, like a whole bunch of them from Arizona, that was on Tudo Dixon's campaign finance report, right? Well, none of these did I agree to. None of those was I behind. And all of a sudden, $5,500 in charges to my personal credit card to a bunch of campaigns and finances that I have never even seen or heard of before.
Wow.
Doing it to me, they're doing it to other people. Now, if a person was going to say that, well, oh, it was a mistake, I'm so sorry, you would think that they maybe double billed something, right? Which I don't have that much that I'm donating. I'm not donating anything, not anything. I might have paid something as an entrance fee for, or something like that, or when they're doing like an event or something like that. But I don't donate to other campaigns.
There's a lot of those events that run through WinRed.
Right. So I think I made 2 donations in the 2022 cycle. And it was 2 people that I thought were good that I probably should have called them back and said, give me my donation back. One was Melissa Carone and the other one was Matt DePerno. And I made like a $500 donation to each one of them, right? And once I kind of looked at this, said, no, this is a bunch of crap. I should have probably asked for them back, but I didn't, and I just moved on. And so, but I've never donated to a campaign other than perhaps, going to an event, right? And that's it. But I have never just flat out gone to WinRed for any of these. And I don't donate to foundations. I will help people on an individual basis. But I believe with all the criminality that we're seeing that this is a bad place to put your money. And so therefore I don't. So this is kind of become a really big problem. And I think we need to question this and also question why would WinRed have taken my credit card numbers and gone, oopsie, we made a mistake. It went to a campaign that you didn't even know existed, nor did you know any of the people's names involved. And all of a sudden, I'm being charged between $500 and $2,000 a pop. Riddle me that, Batman. Is that there's no way that is, how should I put it, an oopsie mistake. I don't believe it is. And
are they trying to do something? Are they trying to do something to mess with the campaign finance filings?
There you go. Are they messing with the campaign finance filings? Are they trying to put something on my record as taking part in these candidates to either give them props or to make it look like I'm on their team and or to implicate me into a crime if they get convicted of one later? That's my question right there. And so, of course, we called and said, reverse the charges and reverse them now. And they apologized to that. But I got a feeling that this is going to come up again. And so I'm going to go on public record right now and saying, I never made this donation. I didn't know anything about these donations. I don't know who these organizations are. I don't know who the candidates are. I know nothing about this, but it's clearly WinRed does. So to everybody out there, if you're looking at donating to WinRed, watch your credit card statement, because I can tell you right now that they put charges on my card of which I had no part of whatsoever.
Okay, so let me be a devil's advocate for a moment, so to speak.
Go ahead.
Let's say they say they didn't do it, they were hacked. So then that brings up some other questions, right? You just got to think outside the box with this kind of stuff. So if they didn't do it, who did, and why would they?
And why did I have to knock down?
And if they didn't do it intentionally, let's say they were hacked, and that becomes their excuse to you in answer to you.
Oh no.
Why
didn't
would
even
they say that? Because they don't want to tell the public that they don't have control over their finances. So either they do or they don't.
They
Well, let's
don't.
say if somebody else hacked them to do it, why could that be? One answer I have to that is they would know that of anybody, Donna Brandenburg would be making a fuss about it.
A large fuss.
So if somebody else hacked them to trigger you to make a fuss about it, would that be a reasonable conclusion?
Could be. Maybe this is an exercise to see what happens, and going Tasmanian devil on them and absolutely handing them their tails. And one way or the other, there's a problem. That's like going off on somebody for election. They don't have control of our elections, not at all. And so it's either intentional. We know it is because we've proven that they've done things such as GBI strategies, such as people walking away from their oath of office or their duty to say, "Oh, time out, we got to stop, we got a problem here," and calling it out. And so I had a conversation yesterday with Bernadette Smith. So I will call and talk to everyone, whether because I want to get to the truth on this. And I said, okay, okay, now I started out this as Donna Brandenburg, trying to be kind of nice to people and such. But now I said, I'd warned everyone, you better hope that I get in, because if I don't, I got full time to go after people with a merciless questioning process. So I'm like, you got Pete Hoekstra in there. Okay. I got some questions. All right. I'm willing to get everybody a chance. And so on the chats, and all of these chats that are out there, all of the political chats, because I'm in all of them to some degree or another, I lurk a lot. I'm kind of a spook. I'll go in and I just lurk. I may not say anything, but I want to know what people are talking about. And, I got to, firsthand look at the attacks on Donna Brandenburg, and I screenshotted some of them and threw them out there. That wasn't a happy moment for some of them they're absolutely political operatives. Like, oh, well, you said it. I just put it out there, right? And so anyhow, I said to Bernadette yesterday, I said, I'd love to have you on. I'd love to have everyone on, but I'm going to ask you some pretty hard questions. So we've got, and she's like, well, I really don't get involved in much of the stuff that's, the fighting that's in there. And I'm like, that's great. But I said, I've got questions with Pete Hoekstra. Everybody is like, well, he's doing great, but I'm seeing no plan. What's the plan? And furthermore, I've got questions for him. He was he was one of the guys behind the Patriot Act, and he didn't just sign it one time, he signed it 2 times. And so it's like, now, it's like I'm listening in these chats, in these political chats, the MIGOP chats, the Kent County chats, the Michigan events chats, and all of these ones that are out there, and just kind of watch what they say. Well, we want to hear what Pete Hoekstra has to say. And she's like, well, how would you fix it? And I'm like, I don't care what he has to say. I want to, because there's no justification for spying on it. If he didn't know the law, then he was unqualified or didn't check it out enough, which sounds to me like most of the people that are in politics, they don't even read the bills before they sign them. Okay. So what kind of an idiot signs something without knowing what they're signing and the implications that can go further from that? You wouldn't sign a contract without reviewing it or having an attorney review it. Yeah. So anybody that signs these things that's in office is an idiot right off the bat. Okay.
You wouldn't agree to terms and conditions in software without reading through them, right?
Or having somebody else do it. Couldn't anyhow. But at any rate. So,
yeah, I'm actually in the habit of reading through terms and conditions for software.
At a painful level, I might add. Where is the or of in a sentence? A 45-minute discussion on that. An article where an article appears in a sentence. It's like, oh my gosh. That is one of those moments that you realize there is not enough coffee on the planet to have to put up with the fine-grained debate that comes from programmers. I love you guys, however.
I've turned down services before and then sent in complaints to their legal teams about their terms and conditions before.
And I happen to know the whole story on that, so that's really funny. So anyhow, going back to Pete Hoekstra, Anna's connection with the Yobs, and the Jobs connections and the statements that have been said around the planet. You know, I have no words for some of this nonsense because it's just it's a narrative. Most of it's a narrative. So, but anyhow, let's just go back to Hoekstra. Okay. I'll give the guy a chance. We all make mistakes. Even if we sign something that we shouldn't have signed, and we're all getting smarter as we go along. We don't just like jump into the club and say, oh yeah, I'm in the club. They care about America. They care about us as an individual. They don't. So we're going to start right off with that. Trust no one, do your research, and whichever way it goes hangs on you, right?
Well, it's like what you've said about RFK and the border situation. What, you know, you've talked about that before.
Yeah. And so listen to what they have to say. I love RFK. I think he'd be a great attorney general. But with that said, you say, I kind of like what this guy's saying, and he apologized. He said he was wrong, and I gave him a chance. And so Pete Hoekstra is kind of the same way. I want to see what he has to say of signing us up for something that increased spying on Americans and did nothing for terrorism because the freaking borders are open. Okay. And I'm hearing nothing there. Nothing. Okay. I'm glad he's standing up for President Trump. That's great, because President Trump is the rightful president of the United States. And that's what I'm hearing. But I'm not hearing, other than words, what's the freaking plan? That's what I want to know. And if you're going to break the law and sign in something that's a problem or in a violation of the highest law of the land, Constitution, and sell people on security just so that we can have a Five Eyes nonsense thing to spy on people and use third parties to spy on Americans, quartering them in our homes, etc. I mean, we can talk about this for a lot longer time, really. What are you going to do, Pete Hoekstra, to right the wrongs you were involved in? That's the only question I want to ask. I want to know, what's the plan? You broke the law. You broke the Constitution. You guys spit on that with the Patriot Act. So how are you going to reverse this now? And how are you going to stand and go back to what worked and to the, I don't want to hear about going forward. I don't want to hear really about much about the 2024 election, though I'm going to vote for President Trump. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'll go on record, even though I have to say it. But I want to see what was done in the past, the crimes that were done in the past, right it. And what's the plan to right the wrongs that have been done? That's the only thing I want to hear out of his mouth right now. I don't want to hear about the Republican Party, which has turned into a disgrace to the nation, which is using slates and endorsements and PAC money and all these things to buy our elections. What you going to do to right it? That's all I want to know. And what you're going to do to address the Patriot Act, and what you're going to do to address. I should just put together my punch list of all these things that need to be stood for by said political parties, and that's all of them, or it's time to abolish them. There you go. What say you guys?
She takes a sip.
As I take a sip. More
Yes.
coffee, I say. Yeah.
Well, I shared an article yesterday, and there was a piece of Michigan specific news that I shared this morning real quick. But there was a Politico article shared by Burning Bright on Telegram, and I shared that with some comments about why the author believes that we're all stuck with Biden as a candidate. And I've been saying that for a while too. I don't think they're going to switch him out, and I've got my own reasons. But
yeah, because they got like seven lookalikes there that run up a stair. You know, he can't even say two words together, and he can run up the stairs to an airplane like a gazelle. That isn't him. There's no possible way.
No. But there's the show, and then there's, well, okay, analyze the situation from the lower levels. And one of the points made there was that the Democrat Party is not one that relies on the grassroots or allows the grassroots to speak up. And that was an interesting perspective that I hadn't really
I'm going to
considered.
listen, but I'm going to listen, but I've got a duck here to quick make out some paperwork. And so just
Okay.
keep talking, please. Talk amongst yourselves, and I'll be
Okay.
right back.
We got it. The Republicans have been, and that's where my attention usually is, it have been really about grassroots. The grassroots delegates are going to make the decisions. It doesn't come from the top down, right? But it does.
Yep.
And they've been in denial about that. Well, in the Democrat Party, I don't ever, and maybe it's just because I'm not paying attention to them. I'm not one of them. I don't talk about politics to Democrats typically. Are they ever even talking about a grassroots movement on the Democrat side?
Yeah,
And it sounds like they're not, and that was the point of the Politico article. And one aspect, they are not speaking up to say, hey, they're telling us from the top down they're going to keep Biden on the ballot, but we want to see other options. People aren't speaking up. And one reason is because the author at least feels that they believe that they have to defeat Trump 100%, and that if they relent in the idea that Biden is the best candidate, it kind of by default shows support to Trump, as if we can't defeat Trump with Biden. That means that Trump has more power than they want to admit. So they're going to stick with Biden. No one will speak up because it's a hazard to their party and to their own selves. Like, no politician on the Democratic Party is going to say, hey, Biden, I think maybe it's time you step down. The people are saying, no, they're not going to do that. It's too late.
Yeah, that's fair. But I have heard, they talk about, they do, from what I've heard of it, they do talk about the focus on grassroots quite a bit.
Okay.
In trying to engage people in activities, but ultimately the activities are actually kind of pointless. That was real evident back in 2016 with Bernie Sanders, and now he was portrayed as the grassroots candidate, which I mean that's look into his history a little bit. However, him and other members of his family to determine whether or not you believe that claim. However, there were a lot of people that they were very successful in getting a lot of people personally involved in personally engaged, at least, in believing that they were helping Bernie Sanders. But then it came to the when it came down to the actual delegate process, the entire situation was rendered completely moot because the entire candidacy was actually pretty much determined solely by a few superdelegates who held way more power than all of the rest of the regular delegates. And they were able to overrule and get Hillary nominated. And you kind of have, I've seen that in a few of their elections, because I do try and keep an eye on basically both sides, because they're both they're both corrupt, and so I've seen some of the Democrat side on that, in that they do have the same kind of issues. They portray it as being grassroots, and they try and get people personally involved in it and bought into it. And if people aren't actually watching how the nomination process goes, they might believe that it was actually an organic nomination rather than being entirely artificial. Because that's what they try to portray to the populace, but it's not true at all.
Mm-hmm. And so again, you've got the same kind of issues then, where you have to question whether the people inside the parties are paying attention like they should be.
Well, and
that is one of the biggest lessons for us all.
Okay, give me the cliff notes there, please, a minute, because I was marginally paying attention. Bullet point it for me, please.
Whether the why the Democrats won't put up another candidate to oppose Biden. They don't believe they have a choice. They won't go against the party line.
Well, and this election too, look at what happened with New Hampshire and their primary.
Way, please.
And how they basically they decided to hold a primary, and then the national party kind of like revoked their authorization to do that. I don't understand the full mechanics of all of this, but they basically kind of like revoked their authorization to do that. Biden did not take part in the primary, and because the national party said this is unauthorized, basically, and pretty much just told New Hampshire that no matter what you do, we're going to nominate him anyway. So you can, if you do this, it's unauthorized and it's pointless. They did it anyway.
Yeah, they say waste of money and that sort of thing. But when it comes down to it, when you look at how they've changed the rules within, and they keep rewriting the bylaws, to these things to make it easier for them to take the power away from we the people, the super delegates are the delegates' vote doesn't matter, and they know it, and they've done it that way so that they can just usurp authority from we the people. The delegates are supposed to go to their constituents. They don't. Neither party do they go to their constituents at all. They are voting with the party. The Republicans put up a slate, and the Democrats have the super delegates, which count, I think it's 10,000 votes as opposed to the delegates.
I don't know the exact number, but I know it's way more than regular delegates on the Dem side, and
makes them obsolete. The delegates are completely obsolete.
Yeah, and then the Republican side, you've got the basically, I've heard of delegates on the Republican side that were basically told, you vote with the slate or you will never be a delegate again.
Well, look at the organized crime structure that's going on within Lansing. So when I first ran, I was told, they're going to take you into the basement and tell you how things go. And if you don't vote with the speaker that they're trying to get in as a group, you don't have an opinion. You just have to go in there and vote with the party politics that are there. And if you don't, now think about this. This is a threat. This was absolutely a threat. It was this is how it works, or the same thing as the ex-congressman that told me I had to pay $20,000 to get on the ballot. This is going on all the time. And he said, if you don't vote, this wasn't the congressman, this is another one who actually is part of the Freedom Caucus that said this, which makes me have to question everyone on the Freedom Caucus and everything. They're all little cells of an organism. This is what's happening. And said, if you don't vote the way that the party votes, you will be off all your committees. They will make you they will stall you out. You will have no voice, and they do it intentionally. And so now I watched, was it Josh Shriver that got removed this week? I think that's his name. What's his name? He got removed. That was removed, and it's like, okay, so I've got a lot of questions about him as an individual. Anyway, I don't know him. I'm not going to give him an endorsement.
Shriver.
What's that?
Shriver. That's the article I shared. National Post.
Shriver. And they removed him from his committee assignments. And this is the way it works. You can get in, but if you don't sit there and be part of the good old boys club, they're going to, and I was absolutely told this within a week or two of maybe It was a very short period of time when I announced that I was running. And all of a sudden I had a certain candidate that came and told me how it really works. And then asked me immediately. It was a conversation that lasted an hour. And within a week and a half called and said, so I'm counting on you to donate the maximum amount to my candidacy. There's no asking. There was no relationship. I have no idea what this guy really stood for. And I'm counting on you to donate the maximum to my campaign. I'm like, why? You just told me that I was going to be told what I have to do by the same group that you're clearly a part of. I didn't donate a dime to him, and I wouldn't, because, it was easy for me to see right then and there. And I don't know. It's like I told when I was talking to Bernadette yesterday, I said, I never cared about the title. Not at all. I want my country back. And, it's like it's going to take a bunch of us to be a little ornery with some of these processes and tell them not just no, but once you said it, good luck with that. It's probably going to be put out there for God and everyone to hear, because there's a big problem, and that was, I can tell you at some point in time who this was.
So
but
backing up
that's on the Freedom Caucus, there's only 4 of them, so you can kind of figure that one out.
So backing up a couple of subjects, looking at WinRed, they are, it looks like, not actually part of the Republican Party. It's a for-profit company, and they're endorsed by the Republican Party, but it was started by a guy named Garrett Lansing.
The heck is he? It's one of these political consultants, probably. This is such a squid-like entity. It's unbelievable.
So from what I remember too, WinRed charges, they take a cut on pretty much everything. They charge a lot. It's a fairly expensive platform.
Okay. Yeah, they take a cut of everything. So anything that you donate to WinRed, they're going to take a cut of this.
And they charge the candidates a substantial monthly fee, if I remember right.
You bet they do. This is another way that they take your money, and it doesn't go to what you want it to go to. I signed up for it because I didn't know any better at the beginning. And it's like, okay, you got to get into WinRed and you got to do this, and they'll help you with the campaign, and they keep track of things and blah, blah, blah. And after I got into it this is one of those things that it's like, okay, you're dropped off in the middle of the political jungle here with a popsicle stick, have no idea how this works, and have to try to figure it out as you go. But you get smart real quick after a while.
Don't insult popsicle sticks. You can do an awful lot of stuff with popsicle sticks.
Okay, so
Ralph, the IT guy, is in the jungle doing a MacGyver, making a bomb with a popsicle stick.
Hey,
okay.
Professor made everything imaginable with bamboo and coconuts on Gilligan's Island, right?
Wow. So
I've actually looked into growing bamboo here in Michigan. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and there are a couple of species of bamboo that we can grow here. Cane bamboo, not Michigan bamboo, which is not actually a true bamboo and is just an invasive weed. But you can actually grow cane bamboo here in Michigan. Not the big diameter stuff, but small stuff.
The only face I can see is Donna's and shit.
So I'm actually looking at some more screenshots and more charges that went through that I have no idea who these people are. And so here's another one to Save America WinRed. Oh, that's probably okay. Here's one that's another one. I don't even know who this is going for. $952.75. Okay, going to question that one on WinRed. Here's another one, $965.62. So that's got to get added to the pile here. We've got
amounts.
What?
Strange amounts.
Yeah, and we've got one to Hometown Foundation, $1,500. I have no idea who this is. None whatsoever. WinRed Zinke for Congress. I have no idea who this person is from it looks like Virginia. Dave Gillis. I have no idea who this person is. Another one, Hometown Foundation, Cheshire, Connecticut. Here's another one for a Save America for $2,000. I'm sitting here going, what?
That reminds me of the Seinfeld episodes of George Costanza. he made a donation to the, quote, human fund, and he just made it up and sent out these things.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so we're just kind of making, I hate to say it, but we're just like making shit up here. This is what's happening. It's like, okay, we're just going to make shit up. That's what it looks like to me. I'm just going to say it, I'm like, okay, now I got, let's see. So I'm just going to send all of these here, send them up the pike here. We'll see what happens. And, yeah, because we're going to get an answer on all of this because.
And who knows how long they've been doing that too.
Oh, this is going to blow up in their faces.
I mean, it sounded like this was just this month, right? I wonder how long they've been doing this and just keeping the amounts low enough that nobody caught on.
Yeah, I've got one here that, okay, so that's there. I'm going to continue to send charges. I think there's a huge investigation going on with this one.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I think that we've got some other questionable things that WinRed has gone to. And now we've got let's see, that one may be a Venmo charge. So you
know what else popsicle sticks are great for? Is if you're restoring old equipment, sometimes you got to kind of play around a little bit to be able to match paint correctly. Because they use different paint chemistries, so you can't just necessarily go to the hardware store and say, hey, here's a paint chip, I need latex paint in this. You may have to mix up an oil-based paint or something like that. And popsicle sticks are great for doing paint tests where you can try a whole bunch of different mixes on a bunch of popsicle sticks, see how well they soak into the wood, and label them, figure out which one is your mix that you want, and then you can try them in all different conditions. So like right now, I've got some popsicle sticks with some different paint chemistries that are actually soaking in oil to see if any of them will stand up properly to having basically machine oil on them for weeks without bubbling, because a lot of them have problems with that. So yeah, don't insult popsicle sticks. Popsicle sticks are amazing.
Okay, so yeah, but this is okay. So I'm writing because I'm getting some stuff back. This is guys, this is the way that it has to be done. When you're looking at something, you don't run away when something happens. You charge right into the fire and make it painful for them. And it's like we cannot run away from these things. And then get in a public venue. This is why media is so important, and lay it all out there. It's like this is what needs to happen. All of this backroom deals, and I'm going to tell you what right now, and I said this from the beginning, my plan as being governor was going to be go on every day, just like I'm doing on BNN, and telling people what I know, what I'm seeing, and what I don't know that I find out as we go, so that we are all moving forward together, so everybody's in the know on things. And if I don't know something, I'll say, okay, this one broadsided me because it's going to happen, because they're trying to set up anybody that's good, because they're trying to, or that's trying to do the right thing. And you just got to throw it out there. It happened I had somebody call and offer me to expand our operations, and we can get you in so that you can work over here in Dubai with the big leagues. I'm like, I don't want to work in Dubai. We work in the United States of America. I'm a flag waving American here. I have no interest in going to Dubai. And then the $4 million in my bank account. And then it was just on and on and on. And you got to throw this stuff out here. So now WinRed is charging me to random campaigns I've never even heard of before. So how many other people have they done this with, either to tie them in with bad people to make it look like it? Because this is what I hear over and over again. You can tell a lot by a candidate by who they, in fact, it was Jeff Bongiorno that told me that. He said, you have to get into these reports to see what the connections are between people and what they're doing, because they'll tell you a lot. Well, what if they're setting you up even through the campaign finance reports and dinging your credit card and whatever, and it never gets addressed? That now you got a real problem, because you could sit there and and be made look like you're on the bad guy's team, and you could have no idea that unless you're really paying attention to hold them accountable, man, they could really throw you right under the bus.
See, that right there is one reason why I have a hard time believing that they would do this to you for that purpose.
Well, because stupid if they did.
Yeah, do they not know who you are? That of course it would backfire on them. Are they that stupid?
A whole new level of crazy right here, like something went wrong and I'll go Tasmanian devil on them. You ever see that happen? Tizzy fit. If you've never seen a tizzy fit, that's another way to do it. But yeah.
Yeah, you've gotten to see Wolverines before, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'd say honey badger is my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, if somebody sees you as a threat, it's because they know enough about you that they wouldn't want to do this because you would point it out.
Yeah.
That it would be one reason why I would say, is somebody setting up Win Red by...
We don't know.
By doing this to you.
Yeah, we don't know, but Win Red, I would say hold your cash and not donate to them at all. It's just odd. And it's like, it's like when I hear people say that they stand with the party, not the person. Well, that's like a communist party going on there. Can't question God's anointed. You gotta, or the ones that they want to have in place. You gotta truly just fall in line.
It occurs to me, I wonder how any of this is actually legal. Because you think about it, and the reason why... So the campaign finance restrictions are supposed to limit how much a person or organization can give to a campaign, right?
They can push you over the limit this way real quick.
Yeah. But think about this, though. If you're donating through Win Red, technically your money isn't going directly to the candidate. It's going through Win Red. How does that make Win Red any different than a PAC? And technically that could be said of credit card companies. Because if you're donating on a credit card, you are not actually giving the money directly to the campaign. The credit card company is giving the money to the campaign, and basically on a loan, which you are then paying off.
Okay, it's a stretch for me, but I'll ponder it.
Yeah, but I mean, thinking about this, looking at Win Red, they're giving a large sum of money to these campaigns in a lump sum generally that are an aggregate of the individual donations. Now they're giving a record of that, but how does that make Win Red any different than a PAC? But yet Win Red is a for-profit company, and a PAC is supposed to be filing all of their stuff with campaign finance directly.
There's a lot of questions that we all need to ask. Truly.
And then with Win Red taking a cut of all of that, I mean, that definitely puts them in an intermediary position where those donations are not going directly to any candidate.
Well, you look at too how many things are being shuffled through these NGOs and 501c3 and 4 and how they work. It's like a 501c4 is supposed to be for education purposes. So, and candidates, how do I say this? I was told that I just needed to find somebody to set up a PAC for me. And I was like, really? And they said, yeah, all you have to do is just not talk about what happens and the direction that you want to go. And I was like, okay, so find a friend that you trust to set up a PAC that you trust, but don't talk to them about what's going on in the PAC. So this is another way that they cheat the system, because they'll find somebody that they know with a PAC, and the candidates will throw out a, hey, I'm thinking about doing this event, or I'm thinking about going in this direction, or messaging that. They're not directly telling the PAC what to do, but the PAC is in fact taking instruction in a subversive way.
In a lot of cases too,
I was shocked. I'm like, are you kidding me?
In a lot of cases too, I've seen situations where like PACs are located in the same building as the political consultants for the campaigns that are working, not working with them, but working with them.
Well, look at what happened with. I had an address that I found that pro. Let me think. It's Protection Sources. I can look it up. Was who is owned by the individual who was helping Christina Caramo, who was sharing an office in the same address as the group that was standing with the Maddox, Marion Sheridan, and such. And I'm like going, how does this work?
Yeah. Citizens United really messed up a lot of things. That court case, that was a terrible decision. Yeah,
there's so much of this going on that the average person, okay, so to talk about this, to come into a political situation, which I hated everyone. I didn't want anything to do with politics. I'd go and I'd vote every time, and it was sort of like, okay, I'll vote for, in the elections, and I'm going to vote in person. I'm not going to do the cheaters way and give them a way to cheat with my ballot, with the absentee ballots, because we all know that they can cheat, like there's no tomorrow with these absentee ballots. So I voted in person. I feel like that's an important part of what we do for civics, is to step up and actually act like we care and put some time into it and put some weight on it. Not just, I'm just going to put in my ballot like a Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. That's what it feels like with the absentee ballot thing, right? So I'm like, no, I'm going to show up. I'm going to stand in line. I'm going to feel really proud that I did my civic duty, but I wanted nothing to do with any of the candidates, because, you listen to these people talk for 5 minutes and they've got the snake tongue, the smooth snake tongue of lies 100% of the time. They are, all of them, scripted. They do not talk off the cuff. They cannot answer questions. They stick with the script, and that is it. And they come in for 5 minutes, say their highs, kiss the baby, say hello, sniff them if you're in Biden's shoes, and they run out the door. So they do. That's it. But you couldn't have an actual conversation with any of them. Not that I saw, nor that I was interested in, nor that I cared about, because they were so plastic. And you get into this, and I go to these events and realize that, man, I'm a fish out of water here, because I'm just going to talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about and ask me a question and bring up some answers. But it's such a plastic environment. It's kind of crazily heartbreaking to see what is actually running this nation and how tied in they are.
Well, Citizens United, money equals speech, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yet we can't restrict free speech, First Amendment. But then you can restrict the money flow using campaign finance laws, so that only the big PACs and stuff can actually donate large amounts, which, is now equated with restricting free speech. So that must be okay. So back up the chain again. But
all money driven, the whole thing.
Yep, that was such a terrible court decision. But
well, and the concern with that going forward is, are they going to be given the right to vote at some point in time?
Yeah,
because they have the rights as a person. They could argue, well, the precedent's set, so corporations should have the right to vote. That's what they could say. And it's very, very, very dangerous.
Well, think about this. If you had a private person that went around to their town and asked everybody in their town to give them $5 to help a candidate, and they got 1,000 people to give them $5, then they make the donation to that candidate. Who's that amount getting filed under for campaign finance? It's going to be the person doing that donation, not all of the $5 individual donations, but it'll be the one person that aggregated it. How is that different than what WinRed's doing?
Yeah, well, I tell you what I really think we need to do is we need to go into something more like the British system, where everyone has the same tools, and that's it. You have a certain set of tools, and you cannot go outside of them. There's no in-kind donations. There's none of this stuff. You can have volunteer type stuff that volunteer hours, but I really think that we should see individual effort and have one area to actually be able to evaluate or give the candidates the ability to speak. That's it. No more big money being made off of the media companies. You know how much money goes into these media companies? You know how much money goes into the political consultants?
The media companies who
unbelievable. This is a huge industry.
The media companies who also make money off of spreading the news about different candidates, because back in the day, the news used to be considered a loss leader. It was mandated for different stations to carry some kind of news or informational content. So the news was not supposed to be considered a money-making part of any media branch. And that's when you had actual journalism back in the day, was before media companies considered the news to be something that they could sensationalize and make money off of.
And then the Kenyan cut out the ability to prosecute if they posted stuff that was lies about people. So they post lies, and they do it to torpedo a candidate. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, one of the biggest problems that really hurt me is Gateway Pundit publishing billionaire Donna Brandenburg. Every time my name showed up, it was billionaire Donna Brandenburg. Well, the everyday person, the like all of us that actually work sees, billionaire. I wonder how they got their money, because all of them at this point in time look like they're rigged. And so right off the bat, that was a way to impugn my character and make it a matter of distrust, and portrayed me in a way that was untrue, patently untrue. I've never been remotely close to being a millionaire. I work.
Billionaire, you mean?
What's that?
Billionaire, you mean?
A billionaire, yeah. I've never, what did I say?
Millionaire.
Oh, no, billionaire. I've never been remotely
close
to being a billionaire. Correct. They didn't
scratch it. Yeah, they didn't go. I remember seeing those, and they didn't go, to millionaire. They went right straight for billionaire.
Yeah, they didn't.
In the news reports.
Yeah, and so it's like it was a crazy hit job to portray me in the way. Thank you for that. It was a good catch. Thank you. They went right straight to billionaire. I've never been remotely close to that, and it was to harm my chances, because I can't relate to billionaires, not in that way, not on same footing. and the way that they criminally money launder most of them, or how they rig the system. We just work. That's what we do. That's the secret to having a degree of success. And you can have a good degree of success if you get up every day and you decide that you're just going to work all the hours. You're going to put the phones down. You're going to think about what it is that God put in your heart to do, and you do it to the best of your ability, and God blesses us for it. It's not the prosperity doctrine. I don't believe in that. I just believe that you just get up every day, you do all the jobs that nobody wants to do, whether it's cleaning toilets. I've done it. My one of my first jobs, I was hired as a waitress when I was I think I was like maybe 14 or 16, probably 14 years old. I cleaned the bathrooms. And besides waiting some tables, that was what we did back then. And I worked all the hours. I had a little worm business that I go pick through the manure pile, and I found out that the worms loved organic manure, and I could package up worms and bring it to the bait shop and sell. And all of these things that people think are above them, no, it's not above them. All these jobs need to be done, and none of us is above doing them. Well, with that said, I'm going to bring in Marc a minute, Marc Sosnowski. Hey, Marc, I see you out there. And we're going to talk about candidate recruitment just for a minute, as well as the classes we're going to come up with. I'm sorry that Bill couldn't be on today, but like I said, he had a truck breakdown. Hey, Marc, how you doing?
Hello there. I'm doing great. I'm joining you from the hallowed halls of Dearborn Heights City Hall. Just paid property taxes.
Oh, there you go.
Paid his property tax.
There you go. The illegal or the unlawful property taxes and taxation that goes on all over the state and pushes us into a 70% tax bracket. Every single person that's got their hand on it. Yeah, I pay my taxes too.
If I can jump in here, I've got a question for the city clerk. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, no worries. So I'll take Marc off of here just for a minute. And
yep, property tax means that you don't own your property.
Yeah, it's a lease. I pay my taxes. I pay a lot of taxes, but that's what we've got to change. And to go in and say property tax is not a legal tax, makes you a leaseholder. And if they can come into your property and they can inspect it, or if you don't do what they tell you to do, you're not a property owner. You're a leaseholder. They're not. That's the loss of your right to property.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But Ask My Tax that's been floating around out there, in my opinion, it's a bunch of BS. The way that was organized, it's just a redistribution. It's not actually going to the root of the problem. So let's bring Marc back in. You ready, Marc?
Well, city clerk's giving me her business card, and then we're going to make an appointment. We're going to talk about elections, but right now she's real busy prepping for early elections, which starts Saturday up here.
Oh, there you go.
The presidential elections, right? Who are you going to vote for? So,
So something I wanted to talk to you, because Marc is the head of the candidate committee. Or here, I'm going to remove him until he's done with it. He's I'm going to let him finish his business up here. But anyhow, the candidate recruitment for the U.S. Taxpayers Party, that's what Marc is kind of in charge of. Is let's see if we've got. It looks like he's there. You ready?
I'm sorry about that, everybody.
That's okay.
But I paid the property tax, and then I went and wanted to talk to the city clerk and make an appointment with her. She just come to the front right when I was dialing in here. So
yeah, ask her if you should ask them if they destroyed the campaign fine or the campaign records as per Jonathan Brader's unlawful direction to all of the clerks in the state. Broke the law. They broke the law, all of them.
Yeah, that's important to find out for sure.
Yeah, so what the committee that you're in charge of? Tell everybody the committee for the U.S. Taxpayers Party that you're in charge of, please.
Well, the U.S. Taxpayer Party has some standing committees, one of which is the campaign committee, and I was appointed to that by our late, great party chairman, Bill Mohr. And Not to be confused with William Mohr, his son, who's now chairman, but worked together with Bill for many years on recruiting candidates and vetting candidates, interviewing, tag teaming on interviews, and also with the late great Joe Sanger. The three of us were pegging people to be viable candidates, and of course, in agreement with the party principles. So I'm continuing that. Hopefully, I can continue with that and look for candidates who believe in our platform. And I invite everybody who's listening who hasn't seen our platform. You can see it two places. You can go to the state party website and see our platform. You can also go to the national party, which is the Constitution Party, and their platform is the main points are just about identical. So we're looking for people who are pro-life and pro-Second Amendment and pro-small government. That's basically who we're looking for. So if anybody has that inkling that they want to make a difference in their community, especially at the local level, they would go to our party website and fill out the candidate questionnaire. That's the first.
I would like to see us get sheriff candidates in all the counties, because I know one person in St. Clair that I've been talking to and told him, you need to run on the U.S. Taxpayers Party, and he's like, the Constitution Party. He said, well, I agree with everything on the platform, and I said, you need to talk to us, because he would be an outstanding ethical sheriff for St. Clair County. And so I'd like to ask everybody out there, if you love the Constitution and you want to run for sheriff in all the counties in the state of Michigan, come and approach us, and let's talk. But not just that, because we've got a special election coming up that Rob Stano is in.
Correct. Yeah. That's part of the game plan today, is to catch all the late property. We're not late yet. Today's the last day to pay property tax. So we're going to be in front of the city hall with Rob's memo, some campaign literature. We're going to be talking to people as they come in to pay their tax and introduce them to Rob. So yeah, he's our candidate for the state rep position that was vacated by the former state rep who became mayor. So he resigned his state rep job to become mayor. No term limits there, so he could be there for a long time. And I think we've got a really good shot at this election, because by the time the April election comes around, people are going to have election-itis, so to speak. You know, they voted for the primary now in that local area. They're going to vote for the president next, coming right up. And then they're going to say, what is the third election coming up in April? I already voted. So I think a lot of people are going to just ignore the general election and figuring, well, the Democrat's going to win anyways. He won the primary, so Democrat will win the general. And I don't see the Republicans putting a lot of money in to try to combat the Democrats. So whoever comes in with a couple thousand friends is probably going to win.
Yeah.
I think it'd be Rob Stano.
Yeah, we need a disruptor in there. We don't have to take all the seats. We just need to take a few to disrupt the way that they're voting. And I think we got a good shot at it.
Local action equals national impact, right?
Yes.
Oh, this will, because with the way the situation is now, as you probably all know, it's a 50-50 split there. And the one odd guy who's not beholden to any of the power brokers is going to be the one who everybody wants. He'll be the power broker.
Yeah.
in close elections, or votes, that is. So I have high hopes for Rob. He's totally a constitutionalist, and he's been at this for a long time. He was a Republican precinct delegate. He saw how that machine works and says he's highly disappointed in how it worked out for him. So he's glad to be with us.
Yeah, that's cool. Very cool. So let's talk about something else. We've got two other things that I wanted to talk about today besides candidate recruitment. So anyone out there who thinks that they would like to see a change in government, guess what? Tag, you're it. Step up and run for something because you don't need to know exactly how things work. You just have to have it in your heart to do the right thing and get in there and figure it out. Okay. There's a lot of smart people out there that aren't part of this machine. The people that are part of the political machine, quite honestly, I find that they're pretty stupid when you actually talk to them, and their ethics aren't there. So we need some people that are smart, that are just normal people that go about their lives and go, why does this work this way? And be willing to step up and look into it and make those changes. So I think this could be a really good opportunity for everyone out there. It is a interesting experience. The U.S. Taxpayers Party of Michigan, I can tell you right now, statesmen in this party, it's not a political free-for-all or Jerry Springer nonsense that's going on out there. And it's just really good people. I'm proud to stand with everybody there as Americans, not necessarily party, but Americans. The next thing is a presidential debate that you're working on. Mark is working on a presidential debate for the U.S. Taxpayers Party of Michigan, and we're going to bring the candidates in for the Taxpayers Party. And how's that going, Mark?
Well, we're reviewing places for venues. We're doing that right now, and we still haven't settled on any place. We have, at this point, we know of 2 announced candidates, and they're going to be at Salt Lake City National Convention at the end of April. So we're running this in the beginning of April so the people of Michigan can be familiar with them and have a chance to meet them in a forum type atmosphere and let them present themselves. So that should be around the first Saturday of April. I forget that date, but it'll be in the Detroit area, Southeast Michigan area. And we're looking for a spot that could hold everybody comfortably and be able to serve some food and be able to have a conducive for a forum. So we did it once before. We did it in 2012. We had all the candidates for our nomination. There was about 6 of them in that year, and they all came to Michigan, made their case. And then we met them again at the national convention, and that was the nomination was won by a former congressman. His name was Virgil Good out of Virginia, and he was the nominee at that point. So we'll see what happens this time. And we got 2 candidates announced, and I think there's prospects of more. There'll be some conversations probably right on the floor of the national convention, trying to get people to come forward, and that's happened before.
Well, there you go. That'll be interesting. And we need to really change the way that we think and just say there's only 2 candidates because they're working together from the two major parties, and look at the people and what changes we really want to make. Because if we look at those parties and say, oh yeah, they're going to change anything, it's absurd. It's like beating your head against a brick wall and saying that it's never, that we're going to change it by doing that. It's not going to change by continuing to vote in the same people. It's just not. It's not possible. They're working together, and they're not on separate sides of the aisle. They're working together, in my opinion. So, and then the next thing I want to talk about too, that I want to go over real quick, is that we are putting together, I will tell you this right now, militia course on the militia of the several states. And I want to bring this up because I think what we're going to do is put together some classes or enroll in these classes that are out there that are really good one. So this one comes from Alan Winters and the instructors, Sheriff Darleaf and Brent Winters, who's an attorney at law. And so through the Taxpayers Party, which is the Constitution Party in the state of Michigan, we're going to be putting this out there for people to join us. And it's $20 for the course if you go through us. If you go through as an individual. I think it's like 175 or something like this. But the goal is to do this via Zoom and then get together once a month or whatever everybody decides on doing in order to actually discuss. And doing it by Zoom, I think Dar will join us at some point in time if we ask him to, I'm sure. And so that we can go through this and really understand and learn how, not only how the militia works and the misconceptions, because a lot of people think it's grab your torches and pitchforks and let's be crazy, and that's not how it works at all. It's actually providing for your community a safety net, and that can even be food, that can be services if things go down. Let's just say that we have a crisis and we need to kind of solve things on a local level, be it by via protection, or be it via figuring out how to help each other with food or services or building services or all these things. It is a service type organization. And I think we're going to be exploring all of this, which I think is a beautiful thing. It's a symbol of freedom, but also freedom's reality. And so there's a lot of ways to apply this, and getting a group together on how are we going to serve locally in our communities when we know that the township boards are not serving it at all. And so this is what we're going to be doing. So there you go. And the Constitution is it's actually says it's necessary, it's required. And I'd like to look into how Switzerland does it too, because Switzerland, you have to keep the way that it started was you have to keep a log of your training, and if you don't maintain your training, you pay a tax. So I think to pay for other people I think there's some wonderful things that we can explore in how we take care of our communities. And so anyhow, that I want to put that out there. So what's your thoughts, guys? How would you like to see this done?
This is all brand new territory to me. And I learned so much from Sheriff Darleaf, when he came to our meeting a couple weeks ago, and pinpointing the language and what it indicates in the Second Amendment, and so much is misunderstood especially in the press and the media. So this will be an opportunity, I think, not only for us to take it, but then we'll be the so-called experts to share that with others in our local communities. If we band together as one group on Zoom, then in our other connections locally, we got to spread that information around, so we can become like the Swiss and everybody be active or be informed and ready.
Well, I think the other thing is that what I think might come out of this is if we go from one course, see, there's a whole bunch of courses here, is once we finish this, we can go right down through all of this and how the United States is supposed to work. So we can go through the other courses that are out there and such, and actually learn. And possibly what I'd like to see is all of us banding together a little bit and going through the legal processes of holding people accountable in the office, instead of just having them run amok without recourse. I think that we can, if we know the law and we know how to serve notices, and we say, look, they're not doing the right thing across the state, we can truly have a voice by being we the people and saying, no, they're not doing the right thing, and either removing people or instructing them on the right way to conduct business within our government. That's what I'd like to see the ultimate outcome of this be.
Well, and if you look at if you actually read through the Constitution, we're not supposed to have an army for more than 2 years at a time.
Correct.
And, the way that this was supposed to work is that we were all supposed to be involved in the defense of this country. And I do tend to think that there would be a lot more hesitancy to go to war in foreign countries if everyone had actually still felt like they had a personal stake in being involved in that.
And personal risk.
Yep.
Personal risk.
Yep. If you had to, you want to go to war in another country, well, you are going to be involved in some way or another. That's kind of how it's supposed to work. And I mean, more for the defense side, but we're not supposed to have an army for more than 2 years at a time. And the founders were very clear about their opposition to standing armies and quartering of troops and such.
Mm-hmm. We're supposed to have a navy.
Yep.
But not an army.
Yep.
And
but that's to protect the border.
Right. And it's like I was reading an article the other day that there's so much information going on the southern border that they're ignoring the northern border, and they're pouring into this country through the northern border, and nobody's talking about this.
The nation's supposed to be defended by we the people as part of the militia force. And that is everyone, not just a certain part of an organized group. That's every capable person. But then the borders, we are authorized to have a navy by the Constitution. That's supposed to be protecting the borders around the United States, not defending within it. And that's one of the situations that we see now, is that a lot of the problems that we have are at our borders. And no disrespect at all to anyone who's serving in the armed forces. It's not it's the structure that's the problem. I have a great deal of respect for the people that are involved in it. It's just the structure is messed up.
Same thing with campaigns, with our elections and everything. The structure is completely out of control. And they're not enforcing the laws that are on the books. They're just ignoring it. When there's no accountability for anyone, there's no background checks, there's no qualifiers for anyone in any or even defined roles. When you look at how they've changed the roles that they're supposed to be as public functionaries, they can do whatever they want because they don't stay within the rails, and that's the problem. I mean, the Constitution was to constrain the government, the powers of the government, and the size, not to allow it to continue to grow bigger and bigger and bigger and eat up the rights of the individuals, states' rights, and everything, and centralize the power. And that people don't even know what the job descriptions are when they run for office, generally, because if you're in it for self-gain, which is what we're seeing a lot of, it doesn't matter. That's not their goal, is to do the job. Their goal is to make money off of it.
Consider too that go back a few years, how many of us were oblivious to what you just said? We just didn't know. And here the masses of the people, they just don't know that what you said is the truth. But we've become so accustomed, so ingrained, so programmed to think just the way things are, that it's normal for the government to be in control of everything. I could see it though as a kid. I could see, well, why is the government doing this? The church should be doing this. Why are they not letting the church do such and such? Not the government. I could see it way a long time ago that there was a shift happening. But people are just okay with everything, it's just the way things always been. And so they're going to just, if it doesn't hurt enough, they're just going to keep going the way it's always been.
Well, that's changing now. I keep using the phrase, how long are the evils sufferable, from the Declaration of Independence, because that should be a commonly used phrase right now. How long are the people going to stand for all the things that are happening right now? For a lot of us, the line was crossed a long time ago. But you have to get enough people that are informed, and right down to things like, could you be charged for a candidate you did not support? There's a corruption there that has not been brought up before that may be more pervasive than just Donna, as she was talking about earlier. So is that the one more thing that's going to be the last straw for somebody? Or is it something that they'll see as a bigger issue? Well, when I see an immigrant harming somebody in my community because they were let across the border and not turned back around, even though they had a criminal record or whatever, that's going to be the last straw for somebody. But do we have to wait until they're in our own backyards? Until the crime is right in front of our faces? Or can we see it happening to somebody else and that's enough? The evils are no longer sufferable for many, many, many people, but it's a growing number every day.
Yep. And like you said, none of this is new. And if people, I would encourage everyone to go and read through the Declaration of Independence today, like you just brought up, and consider how many of the things that they charged the King of England with that are things that our rulers are currently trampling on our rights for. There's so much of that is in the Declaration of Independence that is going on today. And if you need motivation for why you need to run for school board, run for your local positions, need your help, and are totally doable. And if you need your motivation for that, look through the Declaration of Independence and realize that these people put a lot more than that on the line for these same crimes being committed against them.
Well, it takes a certain amount of being able to be responsible for yourself and actually caring for the people around you and not expecting the government to do everything for us. We need to look at the people around us and say, where are the people around me struggling and what can I personally do today to help them? Not who's going to come and help them. Who can I call to help them? We need to get in the game and say, guess what? It's me today. I'm going to go help this person with what they're struggling with and have a service mind because we actually care. And that goes right back to serving God too. Who are we serving? Are we here just trying to gain possessions? Are we here to gain status or whatever it is that we think is going to make us feel fulfilled? It never does. The only thing that ever will fill those gaps in people's hearts is truly a relationship with God Almighty, our Creator, and serving Him in His world that He created. It's putting other people first and just looking at this life as an adventure. Well, what am I going to do to work here? Because this is a temporary assignment on this earth. So how am I going to make things better? How am I going to use the time that's given to me every minute? Not well, I'm going to give like one day a year, or I'm going to do this once a month, but every minute. How are we going to serve God in His world? What does He want us to do? Do we even ask? And that's got to come first. I want to bring something up I have my Telegram channel up, and I'm going to call this out because there's so many fraudsters out there. And we went through, there's a movie that was put out by Red Pill Media, the Good Lions film on Phil Godlowski. I call him Godlowski or Lowski, but it's Lewski. And what he's done, and I think everybody should watch this. I did talk to Nick, and I think he's going to be coming on here because it's very important. But I talked to Bree, and we need to put this stuff out there so that people actually know the truth of what's going on. And we need to be brutal about it because if we start looking at what's going on, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out here because I did that. Let's see. I did that the other day because I do think that we need to talk about some of this stuff. And I'm going to go into the Satanism that's present in our nation, the amount of pedophiles that are in the seats, the amount of people that victimize others and such. So this was the affidavit of probable cause. I put it on there for in the Godlowski case and the charge of sedition and tampering with records. You should really look through some of this stuff because the people that are presenting themselves, and I actually talked to Bree, who was the 15-year-old that was involved in the sexual the sexual activity of Phil when he was 26 years old as a coach in the school. Okay, so here's the article. The case against a baseball coach accused of having sex with the teenage girls affecting more than just the alleged victim. So, and he keeps charging people or doing lawsuits to try to shut people up as a way of intimidating people. He's the one that stole my videos of General Flynn and said that General Flynn was calling him out. No, he wasn't. He wasn't even there. He was calling out Phil Smith, Pastor Phil Smith, not Phil Godlowski. And then I want to show you Republicans would rather remain beautiful losers than win. And watch how they fall into this. But I want to show you what. Oh, there's my buddy. I actually like
It's a war that should have never happened. It's a war
Robert
that
F.
Russia
Kennedy.
tried
Listen to him a minute.
to settle on terms that were very, very beneficial to Ukraine and us. The major thing they wanted was for us to keep NATO out of the Ukraine. The big military contractors want to add new countries to NATO all the time. Why? Because then that country has to conform its military purchases to NATO weapon specifications, which means certain companies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, General Dynamics, Boeing, and Lockheed, get a trapped market. In March of 2022, we committed $113 billion. Just to give you an example, we could have built a home for almost every homeless person in this country.
Think about that. A home we could build for every homeless person in the nation. Are they serving the nation or are they serving themselves? They're serving themselves. And as much as, I hear a lot of Republicans come against Robert F. Kennedy, we have got to be Americans. But listen, he apologized for and listen to what he's saying and what his actions are, because his actions spell it out. And I think he'd be a great attorney general. That's what this guy is. He'd be beating the living crap out of anybody out there that's criminally acting against we the people.
Since then, 2 months ago, and now President Biden's asking for another $60 billion. But the big expenses are going to come after the war, when we have to rebuild all the things that we destroyed. Mitch McConnell was asked, can we really afford to spend $113 billion to Ukraine? He said, don't worry. It's not really going to Ukraine.
It's going to American defense manufacturers.
So he just admitted it's a money laundering scheme. And who do you think owns every one of those companies? BlackRock. So Tim Scott, during the Republican debate, said, don't worry, it's not a gift to Ukraine. It's a loan. So raise your hand if you think that loan is ever getting paid back. Yeah, of course it's not. So why do they call it a loan? Because if they call it a loan, they can impose loan conditions. And what are the loan conditions that we impose on? Number one, an extreme austerity program, so that if you're poor in Ukraine, you're going to be poor forever. Number two, most important, Ukraine has to put all of its government-owned assets up for sale to multinational corporations, including all of its agricultural land, the biggest single asset in Europe. Ukraine. There's been 1,000 years of war.
I want to stop there because it's got the Atlantic Council. Who was the head of the Republican Party before it switched out to Karamo? It was Ron Weiser, and he's on the Atlantic Council. So we've got Republican ties to all of this. Don't think that it's a party or it's one group. It's one party. They work together.
Fought over that land is the richest farmland in the world. It's the breadbasket of Europe. 500,000 kids almost. Ukrainians have died to keep that land as part of Ukraine. They almost certainly didn't know about this loan condition. They've already sold 30% of it. The buyers were DuPont, Cargill, and Monsanto. Who do you think owns all of those companies? Yeah, BlackRock. And then in December, President Biden gave out the contract to rebuild Ukraine. And who do you think got that contract? BlackRock. So they're doing this right in front of us. They don't even care that we know anymore, because they know that they can get away with it. And how do they know that? Because they have a strategy. And that strategy is an old strategy, which is they keep us at war with each other. They keep us hating on each other. They keep the Republicans and Democrats fighting each other, black against white, and all these divisions that they sow.
I think I love what he has to say. He's very, very,
various international government and
he's very, very authentic when you listen to him speak, and he's not working off a script. And I appreciate his apology on the border, and I think he's a person to listen to. So
I shared a post yesterday. I think I got it from Tommy Robinson. There was a parade in Sweden involving, in part, some children. I can't even tell for sure if they were boys or girls because they're all wearing the same kind of outfit, probably some wigs. They had adult sexual type outfits on them.
Oh, I saw
and
that.
They were parading,
Terrible.
and I asked the question, what would you have done if you were there? And I think I'm the type of person who would have stopped the parade and made a fuss and caused the police to react. Because these children are not dressed appropriately, and someone has done some kind of crime here. This is not appropriate, and it needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. That's who I think I am, and what I would be doing right then. I would have caused enough ruckus that whoever was in charge of allowing that, and the law enforcement present on scene allowing that, they're going to hear it. Where is that line for America right now? Are you willing to step up in the moment that you see something like that happening and be that one person who stands out of the crowd first to say, no? There was another video he shared where a woman in some of these places in Europe, and it's not limited to one country, a woman walking through the street, the subway, anywhere, is constantly being assaulted by men asking her for sexual things. And how much is it? And she's just minding her own business. And in the one video, she's telling off a whole bunch of guys as she's filming it. And nobody's standing up for her. Why is that? Because they're afraid, because they feel outnumbered.
Because they have no conviction, maybe. I don't even know if they have conviction that this is wrong, and they're too busy, running around in their own lives to care about somebody else.
Or was it because of the way she was dressed? It looked like she had some kind of frilly top on, and maybe they thought she was asking for it, because that's what sometimes people have been taught, that in our culture, that's the way it is. Well, you have to pay the consequences when you dress like that. But then you're turning around and letting the children walk in a parade dressed like that, or worse. There's a moral line here, a godly, righteous line that people have lost sight of. It's wrong or it's right. And you've got to stand for what is right. You've got to take an action, even if you're a minority, even if that means there might be a consequence to you. If you
segue.
if you say something, perhaps others will immediately join you because they feel the same way, but they're a little fearful. So be the lion and wake up the other lions, people. Okay, I'm done ranting for now.
No, that's good. Rants are good. That means you actually care and you have some fire behind you. So what's more irrational? A Christian who believes in a God he can't see, or an atheist who's offended by a God he doesn't even believe in? Yep, there you go. There's the craziness. And then there's a post I put out there because I look at everything. I look at Q. I look at everything. And you can see that President Trump, word for word, quoted a Q post, which I find is really wonderful.
Well, somebody else.
The rightful president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump.
I think we may have lost Mark.
Yeah, I'll see. I think he's bowed out here. Thanks, Mark. If you're there, if you're not there, I can't see. So we'll take him away. So Christian nonprofits incentivize immigration with our tax dollars. Yeah, they absolutely have. And when you look at all of the NGOs around, this is a really good article by the Federalist paper right here, and I've got the link on my Telegram channel, which is at Brandenburg4MI, and it's crazy. Anyhow, Mayorkas looks like he's been impeached by House of Representatives by a vote of 214 by 13, and that's going to be fun to watch that a little bit. And Biden administration diverts veteran affairs resources to illegal immigrants. Of course he does, because he has disrespected our veterans every step of the way. So then I started looking into this whole thing with Usher and him turning around at the satanic Super Bowl, which I did not watch, nor will I watch that any more than I will some of the other concerts. I've gone to concerts and I've walked out. That I didn't know were bad, and then I got there and saw what was going on, like Adam Sandler talking about watching his 12-year-old daughters shower and making lewd comments about their genitalia, which was disgusting. I couldn't believe anybody didn't get up and just haul his sorry butt right off the stage, but they did, and so I walked out. Anyhow, there's a picture of Usher and Marina Abramovich from 2015 at the Golden Globes party. The party was planned by the Art of Elysium, a charity organization. We go right back to the 501c3s and how much money laundering and trading of children happens within the art industry. It's happening, and you don't have to look very far to find it. And anyhow, have you ever noticed that Marina Abramovich events have always something to do with vulnerable children? Because she is a Satanist, and that's not hard to find. And also received an offer from Zelensky to serve as ambassador. Of course, Abramovich could be offered to serve as an ambassador for Ukraine, raising concerns about her proximity to vulnerable children once again. Usher's selection for the Super Bowl halftime show started years ago, and satanic rituals are no accident. I'm going to keep going with this, guys, because I think people are so in the dark. It's time to really show people what's going on out there. These people are evil. And so there she is with Usher. So he is not someone who is casual here. There's a history there. And then I decided to go over and look at Tony Podesta here and the connection with Tony Podesta and John Podesta and such. And so Marina wants you to come to a dinner party and marry. And so anyhow, Tony Podesta dinner party. Dear Tony, I'm so looking forward to the spirit cooking dinner at my place. Do you think you will be able to let me know if your brother is joining? Who is his brother? John Podesta. We're going to go there for a minute. And do you guys mind if I play some shocking stuff today to wake people up?
I've seen it also. It's not shocking to me.
In fact, John Podesta by Breitbart said that John Podesta was a world-class child trafficker. And there we go. We've got Marina Abramovich here and Lady Gaga standing next to her doing some sort of a weird friggin' thing of their spirit cooking rituals. And if you think this is just random, there's so much here, painting walls with blood and talking about satanic rituals. You can look it up. It's all over the place.
There's been a number of celebrities visible in photos like that.
Yeah. And it's amazing how many people stand there. So there you go. We've got the Baphomet there. She's got a goat head that she's there, and a snake and all that sort of thing. These are the people that are running our world, and we wonder why they want children, why they indoctrinate, why they believe in the ritual rights of the ritualistic abortion. This is not random. And here we go. Of course, she has children there, and they're I think is that Pamela Anderson. I don't even know what's going on here, but they've got a naked African American there who's covered with paint or something, and here they're chopping up a body in a mock cannibalist ritual. But there's a lot more to that. And oh, look, she's got a Maltese cross on. Isn't that just quaint? And somebody carved a pentagram in her stomach in one of the things that she staged to give people tools to do anything as an art experience up and to the point of killing her. She lived through that. Let's keep going. And there's Tony Podesta, John Podesta's brother, who we're just going to keep going there, who has a weird art collection. And here you go. It's a statue representing the cannibal Jeffrey Dahmer, what he did, because he would pose his victims in the position of Jeffrey Dahmer did and take pictures of them. And lo and behold, the weirdos, the Podesta weirdos, have got a statue in Tony Podesta's house, brother of John Podesta, who was in with Hillary Clinton. Let's keep going with this. I don't know how many people
Wasn't Dahmer killed in prison?
Yeah.
By another inmate, stabbed or something.
Yeah, and it's like now Podesta, Charlotte brings up too, is that Podesta is in charge of the green energy, Biden clown, and Ukraine hand in hand with the pedos. That's right. These people are sick. And then let's just move forward one step. I can show a lot worse stuff. I'll let you listen to a video of, and I want you to make up your mind on what you're hearing here. And then we've got these weird positions and such. Kind of looks like at the Super Bowl. Let's bring us back to the connection with Usher and with the same creepy crap that went into the entertainment industry. And watch what happens with CERN and the absolute. I went to a Pink concert one time where they were mock hacking off genitals of individuals. I walked out. I didn't even know what Pink's music was. I got sucked into that one and said, "Oh, we're going to go to the concert. You want to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And it was absolutely satanic ritual, complete with Pink in a hooded night circle type ritual, and people in the, if you've ever seen some of the weird costumes they have with animal horns and such. I mean, it was absolutely satanic. And there we go. We've got Lady Gaga, who is in the picture with Marina Abramovic, with 5 of our presidents, and they're all sitting down. And he, there's some conjecture on whether she's a she or she's a he, sitting with the presidents. 5 seated presidents, criminal presidents who have been involved in the takedown of the United States. Epstein's buddy, the sexual deviant, Bill Clinton, who the money going to Ukraine is being funneled through the Clinton Foundation. We've got the Kenyan, and we've got Jimmy Carter. So Jimmy Carter, the Kenyan, Bush Sr., Bush Jr., they were running drugs on our military planes over in Afghanistan, wanted control of the poppy fields, etc. Go ahead and sue me, you pieces of crap.
And Patriot Act.
And Clinton. What's that?
And Patriot Act.
And the Patriot Act, and all of the 9/11 nonsense that they were all involved in. So let's just keep going there. And Mr. Epstein Island buddy. So politics for beginners. Just remember, you got the right wing and the left wing and the elites in the middle. And why are there always children around statues of Baphomet? Baal, Baphomet, whatever you want to call it. And so we're going to go on further here, but I think I posted, let me see if I can, I'm going to go back and I'm going to post something and you guys make a decision. We have Satanists running this country and people who are pedophiles and abuse children. See if I can find my wonderful post. There's some that I didn't have, that I didn't go write down the
I don't know if about you guys, but I see the sun coming out. What a lovely day it is.
Yeah, I'm ready to fight these people. That's my problem, is that I'm so sick of this and sick of what they've done to children and such, that I think this needs to come out. Should I show the John Podesta voice comparison abusing a child, or should we spare that?
I think you did that before.
I think that might be a little too much for some people that are watching.
Well, go to my Telegram channel. It's at Brandenburg, the number 4MI, and you'll see the video on BitChute that shows their little buddy, Abramovic's buddy and friend to John Podesta, and they do a voice comparison. Now, I'm not saying it's him, but you can go listen to the absolute voice comparison and make up your own mind on this. And I think we need to be informed on these people and who they are, what they've done, and who they truly serve. They do not serve this world or us at all. They're in it for themselves, and they have a very long track record of connectivity and doing the wrong thing.
Certainly don't serve God.
You don't kill kids. You don't torture kids. You don't get involved in that sort of thing at
You
all.
don't dress them up in adult clothing and parade them down the middle of the street.
Did you put
You
that
don't
in your
put
channel,
drag
Lauren?
queens and half naked people in the library.
No.
Like, I mean, there's child torture. We all get that's wrong. We all agree. I don't understand why there are some people who believe that those other things are acceptable in any way, shape, or form. It's like your mind has been so corrupted and so far against what God had in mind for you that you can't even see it. Like, to me, it jumps out as just the most despicable thing. And we have a real problem in not just our country, but in the whole world, when we can't even look at children and as innocent little people that need protection. I mean, it's just that simple. They need to be protected and treasured as children and not used and misused in all of these horrible things that people are doing to children nowadays. And then you go to the other extreme and it's like, why aren't we talking about the trafficking of children? What's our sheriff doing? Oh, he made some arrests. Oh, there was a few people here and there get arrested, and they parade that in front of the news cameras and they say, oh, look at that. What a great job they did. And it's wonderful. But what about the other hundreds of people in your community or thousands who are doing it right under your nose and you're not doing anything about it?
Or talking about it. Why is it taboo to talk about the reality of this nonsense and say, oh, this isn't pleasant to talk about. We're going to just ignore it and maybe this will go away. That's why we've gotten in the position we're in.
It's real important, however, to, on the flip side of that, to not just to actually consider what people are saying, because how many people use that think of the children argument to really stomp on the rights of adults and children in the name of think of the children.
Yeah, they've got the right words, but their actions don't match.
Exactly. And, just because somebody says that, oh, they're for the children, or trying to help children, doesn't mean they are. So you got to be real, real careful in considering that too. And the other thing I got to wonder about this is, so much of this is really about taking the responsibility for the raising and protection of children away from parents. And if, take your kids and put them in daycare, and then take your kids and put them in the school so you don't have to deal with them, and let the government raise your children, and we wonder why these bad things happen to children.
You don't know who's in the schools. You have no idea who is around your kids. Even in the churches, unless these big mega churches, do you know who's watching your kids? No. By and large, no.
Yeah.
And how do you know? I mean, people who victimize children go to where children are.
Yeah, and it comes down to, and you see that more and more too now. It's coming into the culture with the whole trans movement, trying to take away the rights of parents to have really any say in the health and well-being of their kids. But it's been a progressive decline in taking away the rights from parents to be able to raise and protect their kids, but then also taking away that sense of responsibility for their kids from parents. Parents can, and I don't know, that's a long road to go down. There's a lot of societal problems there, and that's been a slippery slope for a long time. But, parents keep an eye on your kids. Make sure that you are actually raising them and you're not outsourcing that to somebody else, because if you're outsourcing that to somebody else, they have a reason for taking on that job, and there's a very good possibility it's not in those children's best interest.
Yep.
I'm having to
That's
go
a
through
great way to put it.
to find this little parade of these children. It's
and a lot of modern parenting. This is one thing that I have to say I saw a great deal of benefit out of the COVID lockdowns, is that
I agree.
It actually got parents and their kids involved in each other's lives again and reconnected in a lot of ways that a lot of parents are anymore. They feel pressured to just run their kids around from one activity to another, to drop them off at one sport or one, I don't know, dance class or school or one event right after the other, from one to another, and they're not actually interacting with their kids. They're just basically transportation for them. Mm-hmm. And that was one great benefit that came out of COVID, which was unfortunately, I think, fairly temporary for a lot of people. They didn't learn from it. But the interaction between, basically regelling families again was wonderful. And that was a terrible violation of everyone's rights, but that was one silver lining to that I saw.
Well, God takes things and he uses it, what is meant for evil, he uses it for good. So here, this is what Karen was talking about. If you want to be horrified, this is horrifying to me. Absolutely horrifying to me.
They're wearing like little nipple pasty things.
And look at how small these children are. This is so wrong. There is no... I'm out on this.
They're waving these socially appropriate flags, so it's okay, right?
Well, look at the people here that are participating or watching this and saying nothing.
Sitting on
their butts. They're too afraid to say, this is child grooming. You all have just prostituted these children out there. Not only are they being groomed, this is so
clearly
wrong on every level. So we need to learn to step up a little bit more and say things. So, well, guys, I think we're at the end. Thank you guys for coming on today. I love you to pieces. I will not be on for the next 2 days because I will be engaged in other activities. So, but I'll let everybody know what's going on a little bit there. It's all good. So, but I just wanted to let everybody know that I really appreciate the two of you. You are truly, truly good friends. And thanks for coming on. Bill's one of his trucks wasn't working this morning. So for his business, he had to go drive this morning. So he wasn't able to join us. And that's what we do. This is live, and I think that live video, it's authentic. You can't take back what you said. You can correct it on the spot, but it's not like things are formed, shaped. It's just a conversation. And I think this is what we need to be doing. This is what the news needs to be looking like. And, or, just how people used to do it in the taverns or the churches or that sort of thing, where people actually got together. And I love that. And I love visiting with you guys in the morning. So with that said, how about we say a prayer? Do either one of you guys want to say the prayer this morning, or you want me to do it?
No, go ahead.
You're the one with hands.
Hey.
Not that you need hands to pray.
I do have hands for you. I don't have praying hands. I've got heart hands for you. So there you go. So I think we need one for Ralphie there. We need Ralph with hands too. So there you go. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so very much for this wonderful day that you've given us ahead of us, and the ability to see things and not have it demoralize us, but it put us into action and say, I'm not going to go along and get along with this. We need to call this out, and we're supposed to be here have an effect on this world, not just to go right down the slide into the pit of hell with those who perhaps are not on the same wavelength as we are with serving you and serving each other and actually caring. I ask that you let everybody out there know that when we talk about the bad things, it doesn't mean that they're part of it or that we're lumped in. We've definitely got two different types of people here. It's not Democrats and Republicans. It's good or evil. People that are committed to you and your purpose here, but let them know that there's a big difference, that when we come into your presence, we come home, that you are there not to condemn us, but to say, I've given you a gift of salvation. Just come home and we'll work things out. We'll work the details out as we do with true family, when there's unconditional love, when we want to see the best for each other, when we know that each one of us makes mistakes. We make mistakes. We're not and as long as we're here, we're not going to be perfect. And you know that. And we're thankful that you approach us with mercy, with grace and mercy, with giving us the ability to change and move forward and walk away from those things that we really don't want to be part of us anymore. When we meet you, when we know you, when we walk with you, we want to be like you. We want to be better. We don't want to just keep walking through the mud and doing the same nonsense that we've been doing. And let everybody out there know that even if they made mistakes, just say so. Just say so and come forward and right those. Work towards righting those mistakes and joining us to take this nation back. We're not looking for perfect people. We're looking for people who perfectly love you to the best of their ability and who are changing day by day as you transform us, because all transformation, all of this is only possible when you help us. We can't do it of ourselves. None of this is by ourselves. It's all you that change us from the inside out, from our hearts, our minds, wanting things. The things of the past become things that we despise. We don't want to be swimming in the mud where we all were at one point in time. And we want to be walking with you on this planet, serving you, showing that what your love looks like here, and maybe your justice, but certainly your love for your flock. And I ask that you show us your lost lambs, that we can reach out to people who are brokenhearted, who are suffering terribly with seeing this horrible stuff going on around them and not knowing what to do. Help us to stand together, to look past those differences that don't matter, and also to say, you know what? We all have faults. We all have things that we don't do right. We don't have all the answers. The only one that does is you. And by your strength, we can stand through all things. We can be transformed by the time that we spend with you, our focus on you. That you're leading us into the path, or on the path, forward on the path, into the areas that you want us to go, to be helpful in this very dark world. And when your purposes are done here, I know that all things work together for those who love you and are called according to your purposes, and that you take those things that maybe aren't the best that we've chosen, or the things that we've done that we wouldn't do again, or the things that we just wish were not the way that they are. And you use all of those things to transform us. And we're thankful for all things good and all those things that maybe are a little negative, because you're teaching us in all things. We turn them all over to you. We forgive the people that have done wrong and acknowledge that this principalities and powers, they don't even have the ability to walk away from this most of the time, and realize that they need you. Just help them to see that they need you, and they need your help to get out of whatever it is that they're in, and that you will help them. And you've been a great friend to all of us. We ask that you soften hearts and minds, open eyes to you, give us a willingness to follow you no matter what it is, that our thoughts, our words, our actions fall in line to what you want us to be, and truly a God righteousness that only comes from you. You've been a great friend to us. We want to be a great friend to you. And glory to you for this day. Thank you for putting up with this nonsense, that all who would turn to you would be saved. And that you can look at this and go, I can't even believe the patience you have, quite honestly, with some of this, because I'm not sure I would have this kind of patience. And then that's a fault of mine. But I'm thankful that you truly love us so much that you are willing to continue this on, that people still are able to be saved this day and not turn away from you. It's their choice. It's not yours. You've given us that ability to choose. And protect the babies today. Protect the children. Give them, anyone who's in captivity of any type, to Satan himself. I ask that you would bless them and be with them. Confuse every plan of the enemy. Bind everything that is evil out there, that it can have no more effect in running rampant. And just help us all. We're getting weary of some of this. But I know by your strength that we will endeavor to persevere and continuing to walk the path that you have in front of us. And we love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
There you go, guys. So ready to walk this day out?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to put Karen's heart hands there. And I don't have anywhere I can set this right now. So I'm going to just hold it for a minute. So there's Karen. So you know she's there. I'm going to put it so you can see the top of Karen's head. There you go. There's the Karen statue. The heart hands of Karen right down. Oh, maybe I can put it. I got to work a little bit on this, guys. I need some more. I need a pedestal. That's what I need.
A jar.
I need a jar. And I have nothing within arm's reach of me right now. So anyhow, there's Karen. Karen loves you. I love you. So anyhow, God bless you all. Oh, wait, go to BrandenburgForGovernor.com, because I'm the best non-conceder who's ever not conceded, and I'm still not conceding. The 2020 and the 2022 election, these are fraudulent. They were rigged. There's no way anybody can convince me that these were honest, and we're going to write those things before going forward. And furthermore, God bless you. God bless all these whom you love, and God bless America. Make it a great day. It's your choice. And with that said, we're out for today, and I'll see you next week.